There are so many things to love. Learning new things, being passionate about a subject, or two, or three, or four, or five, or however many interests you have. From one, the sky's the limit. It's not even the sky's the limit anymore. There are no limits to the abundance on this planet, or in our universe, or in any universe. I love a good pizza. I love Italian food. I've always loved Italian food. I'm shaking my head because I'm that in love with Italian food. Now, do I love every other food? Yes. Pardon me. I love every country's food that I've ever tried. And I've tried a lot of food. I love the animals underneath the surface of the ocean. The oldest one being, I believe, I don't know if I'll say it right, coelacanth. That's one of the oldest ones I know of. It's a dinosaur fish. It still exists. And the deepest part of the ocean fish are all white. It's amazing. Life is amazing. And the relationships formed between people and their beloved pets or other animals. I love animals. Animals, trees. I love kids. I love truth. I'd rather pick truth any day to anything else. I love sparkling stars in a navy blue sky, and I counted more shooting stars one evening up at the Bruce Peninsula cottage on the deck with my best friend and stepson. So many that I say, you gotta take some. I've already got 12. And then it got into the hundreds because there's no lights up there. And so you can see the stars. So that brings me to philosophy. The lights and the stars are always there. We just don't see them. So what else do we not see? And there's a quote about how little we know and how little we know and what we actually know. And it's a mere fragment, like a tiny, tiny chip of a garnet found in Lake Huron. I found garnets in Lake Huron. What treasures are there beneath this soil? I don't mean resources, I mean treasures. I'm not pro moving earth for these things, but what exists is amazing. Even the worms and what they do to aerate the soil. They're not just worms. Nothing is just anything. Things are, as you likely know, the beauty for me is the smaller we look, the more we find, down to the shadow left behind of some being that we actually can't see yet. And the more broad we look and open, the more we discover. So it's limitless. It's infinite. But what is finite? Water is finite in terms of drinking water. That's finite. So when we're running taps endlessly, it's good to know what we're doing is our great-great-grandchildren, if we're lucky that far down, they won't have drinking water. You can only clean water so many times and fracking in the earth and then move that water that was underground, let's say where I am right now, and then sell it somewhere else is one of the worst things we can do for our children's children, or even our children, or even ourselves. Because isn't it fascinating that parasites, insects or bugs, they have a parasitic relationship with their environment. A parasite just takes, a taker, someone who doesn't give, a one-sided relationship that none of us like in real life with people, in any situation. They're parasitic. They'll feed off you. Those aren't good relationships, right? And I wonder sometimes, how different are we than parasites? We kill what we need to survive. If we don't stand up for what we stand on, we're having a parasitic relationship with the earth. We're just taking. We're not giving back. And no trees planted now are going to replace 500-year-old forests. Never mind 100-year-old forests. None. It's a great thought. In theory, I'll take a plane trip and then I'll just offset that with this. But it doesn't do that. It takes hundreds of years. And isn't it amazing to find trees and then look at the history that these trees witnessed? Whether you believe they witnessed it like we do, or if trees would witness everything in the way a tree witnesses. So it's scientifically proven, for instance, that if you cut, let's say, a cucumber beside your plants in your house, the plants actually have a negative response. And these are plants, like house plants. That's bizarre and amazing all at the same time. What isn't there to be learning about and fascinated with? And what about hobbies and sports and fishing? And if you're against any of these things, of course you have the right to be. And that's the other beauty of life. Learning things from other people. I've learned a lot about life from other people, from people who know what they're talking about. And I'm not suggesting that anybody believe anything I'm saying. On the contrary, I'm very encouraged and inspired and engaged in life, and I always have been. And I always will be. Because I can't imagine more blessings in one lifetime. Making a baby is one of the most miraculous things humans can do. It's amazing. And then technology, and the list is endless. So I love life. I love so much about life. And that's why I named one of my channels Engaged in Life. Or some semblance of the same words. Being one with it. And if I had to choose one belief out of all of them, it would be Mother Earth and the indigenous ways.